Freedom 35, 5, 5, 5.
Dude, start the podcast.
Wow.
Welcome, everybody, to Freedom 35ers, Cardano NFT podcast, episode 87, technically episode 88 for all the OGs out there. My name is Tommy. I go by TOWNY.
My name is TJ. I'll go by Lazy T.
And I am the other Tom. I go by Lavish Bear.
And tonight, Tom?
Just Tom.
It's Tom.
Just
no names. But we brought along some guests for the first time in a long time. Guys, please welcome onto the stream co-founders of the Mallard Order, Demosthenes and Nemesis. Guys, welcome onto the show.
How's it going?
Hi, guys.
I almost hit the soundboard there, but I realized we were on a recorded call. This is not a Monday night live stream. We need to get that hype, that chat, that build up going. But yeah, man, hi, welcome onto the stream. And woman. That's gonna be a fun one. Over there.
It's Sir.
Sir, I like Sir. SER, right? No, guys, welcome onto the stream. Welcome onto the show. How you guys doing?
Good. Happy to be here, man.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm looking over here at Nemesis. She's like, she wants to go ahead and say something. Just feel free to interrupt us at any time throughout this show here.
I was gonna say I wish I could have a hat so I could hide my emotions.
Oh yeah, the hats are like a weird confidence blocker. For whatever reason, the hair I don't stare at the whole time. So if you throw a hat on, something about it just gives you the power when you're on these interviews.
I will say I need a hoodie like Demosthenes. He looks like he's about to drop a fire album here soon.
Bro, I could have swore.
You know what? Touche, TJ. I'll have to get you back for that one. That was fire.
That's the Insta callback. You know he was coming back to that throughout that stream. But no, guys, no, seriously, welcome on. We were talking about it before the show, but live stream, our first podcast in almost a year that we've actually had a guest, and you guys technically are our first guest on the actual show of 2023. So another first for the Mallard Order. We've done a couple of them with you guys. Even last year, I know we did our first live stream with you guys, and then the face reveal for you, Demosthenes, back in like December. So we've had a fun journey with you guys, and you guys just hit your year. So it's good to have you guys on officially. We've been meaning to set this up for a while, and tonight should be a fun one. We're gonna talk a little bit of Mallard, but we're gonna dial it back a little bit too, just to kind of broader overall NFTs and just kind of kick back and chill tonight. It's gonna be a fun one, so we're looking forward to it. But guys, yeah, I want to kick right into this. Usually we preface these. We kind of do a little recap of what we got started on from last week and
for Monday, yeah, got to follow up.
Monday night, man, it got weird. A little bit. It got a little crazy. The Derp community started showing up on us, and we didn't even plan. You know what the crazy part was? We didn't even plan on talking to these guys or about the project at that time. It was just like, hey, they dropped a new roadmap. Somebody over in chat started talking about it, and
it was just on chat started spamming it.
It's like, just
Derp. Check out Derp.
What has your guys' experience been with like the Derp community at all? Have you guys interacted at all with any of them, or you guys collect any Derps? Have you been interested in that project when they first minted out?
When they first originally minted, no, because I wasn't really well versed in it, but I remember seeing the eggs, and I remember thinking to myself, like, is this really going to work out? All these eggs, they're supposed to have like these metadata traits that then lead them to look a certain way. And then it actually ended up coming out exactly how they said it. And then that's when I got interested in them. And then I saw Dave trolling. And like their whole community is basically on that same wave where they'll like make a GIF or a meme in like 3 minutes. And it's perfectly like, relative to the situation. I mean, you can't build communities like that overnight. Like they really have some sort of synergy behind it all.
I'm kind of scared to talk about Derp sometimes because like every time we do, there's just some crazy meme or something gets put over into our chat, some sound clips, something happens to us. And obviously Monday night was no exception over there.
Tommy.
Well, Tom, you started that. I blame that whole night on you, honestly. I don't know. Tom started it. Tom just said gang, and then it went it went quite
Those
crazy from there.
Things.
Man, do you guys? I mean, I don't know. Is that? I know that's over on TikTok, and I don't ever pay attention. And is it TikTok? I don't even know actually. But
Instagram Live and TikTok Live, I think, because it's a live thing for sure. Do you guys know we're talking about Nemesis and Demosthenes?
Gang.
Yeah, the NPCs are real life NPCs.
I love Lamborghinis. Yeah.
Yeah, I do that since we, basically give everything away for free from the project and only charge for the ducks. I have to do that on my free time. So I'm an NPC. Yeah, I'm an NPC for 3 hours a night. Yeah.
I heard it pays well. I've heard it's paid well. It sounds like, I mean, it's crazy as it seems. I don't know what her name is. It's something like Tiny Pony or something. Little ice.
Ice cream, so good.
Yeah, gang. Oh man, I don't know where that came from on Monday night, but then it just evolved into Derp. Just started Derp, and then from there, the community. I woke up in the morning, somebody clipped the Derp thing, and I even think I referenced it in the video of like, hey, we should make like a beat of this, and that was a terrible decision because they decided they were going to go ahead and take it one step further, and then it actually we got a song now. Gemma, you referenced it over there. It's what'd you call it? The Traphouse mixtape or whatever there. We need to get a few of these. We need to actually get an album set up over here. But yeah, man, this is honestly, this kind of scares me that this kind of stuff can happen so quickly. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about real quick, let's take a little quick gander. Shout out to Nito for making this in like literally less than like 12 hours of setting this up. He's actually, I love the little beat that he ended up doing over at this. You guys hear this real quick?
Ready to look at the map, Tommy?
And just get a little, like, we need like a little beat. I need some like a little snare.
I gotcha.
Little hi-hats.
No problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So much more stuff.
When?
Now.
Start your adventure here. Outpost 42.
Derp waves.
Gang.
Stuffy.
Gang.
Fabulous derp gangs.
Craft your stuff.
Just get a little Derp.
I was ready for the full song on that.
Dude, my man just straight up just dropped a little like whole intro on me. Now I'm ready to just get some people on the remix. We'll start setting it up for the community after that. And then I saw you jump down in the comments over there too. Yo, we need to get that Mallard trap remix get going over here. So who knows what we can grab from maybe something on this episode. But no, man, it was just crazy that stuff like that happens like so quickly inside a community. And the fact that it's like you got one community that built one aspect of that, and then you got another person who does music inside this community, and then just instantly it just gets created within a matter of like hours. I thought that was it was just funny to me. We have a good time. Plus, like I said, he made a little fire beat there. I had a good time. I enjoyed that music.
It's like you said, Demosthenes. I mean, that's one thing that always drew us to the Derp birds is when they first came out, there was a lot available like back then in Cardano, and we just kind of passed on that. And I think TJ, both of us didn't get them early on, and we're kind of like, I don't know, like just the art's not really doing it for me, and we're just here for the flips. I mean, that's really what we're there for at that time. But especially on Twitter, in early Twitter, like on the CNFT side, their community was always there. Like anytime anyone asked about anything on NFTs, because I remember we used to talk about that. You remember Tommy and TJ, we used to have those conversations where like Derp birds are showing up all the time. And it wasn't until Tommy got that the incubator and we followed him along. I think we were doing the live stream then, Tommy.
Yeah, we did it was at that time like a multi-sig mint wasn't really a thing back then. And that's what got me interested in them, because it was like, this is the dumb like PFP, these birds look ridiculous, who the hell's buying these things? And then that egg thing happened, and it was like, hey, they had a little animation, a whole video, and it all happened in one transaction, and that was like new and revolutionary at that time. And I was like, there's got to be more to these guys if they can build something like this. And so I bought a few things from them, minted a few, and then I think last year when we had Dave on, he was like, the rocket ship's about to go off, and then I think like literally like a week after that, Derps kind of had their ascendance inside of Cardano. And it was fun to kind of see that. And now even to this day with everything that they got going on, their community, I didn't realize like how crazy they got. Like you were talking about how quickly they can generate and like pop off memes. Like I was scrolling through their Discord even just now, like taking a look at it. I don't know if you guys can see this. Like I'm over here and yeah, just like you start scrolling here and I don't even know what I'm going to see. It might not be safe for work. like you got just teabag and Kongs in here. You got I don't even know if this oh god no I don't know what that one is. But yeah, you just start scrolling in here and it's just like I don't even know what I'm looking at, but it's just like so we gotta shut this down.
What is going on?
But everything is also like made with derps in it. You know what I mean? They take the time. They're not just necessarily posting all these memes too. Like
scary, man.
Like these community members are taking all these, some of them like pretty well-known memes and gifs that are used often, but making them into derps.
Yeah, it's scary.
I don't have to censor like 90% of these either.
I don't know what I just saw. Like I was just scrolling a little bit and
now it's a zoomed in version of the one. All right, perfect, fantastic.
Right, yeah, we're gonna shut that back down.
Making time work a little bit.
It's like borderline, just X-rated right there.
Yeah,
not safe for work.
Borderline
not,
for sure. That was south of the border, I think.
That's not safe for derp. There you go. There's a little word right there. Man, that's scary. Can you imagine? Do you guys ever get like crazy things like that from the community where somebody just starts making something of your guys' stuff and you're like, yo, like we can't support that. Oh, no, but it's hilarious at the same time because you guys.
People strip my face all the time without my permission, and then the internet wins. They'll like have me like like Zaddy's demos. They put me in all sorts of sketchy situations, and I just have to eat it. So.
Give you high tops,
Yeah, the high tops.
Yeah.
Nemesis, I heard a funny story about that. Demos was talking about it on the last Twitter space where he said that you, Nemesis and the team, you guys were clowning him a little bit because of that high top fade during that week when we released that. Did you guys get on him about that?
Yeah, but I've actually seen his hair beyond that. So, I mean, it could have been an afro.
You would have never known what it is. I think.
Shut up, Nemesis. And also,
you bringing it back?
They were trolling me in the Slack, dude. She would make like little freaking random images. Yeah, she would make random images and like start outlining it like crudely to look like chunks were missing out of my head.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Like the whole presentation, one's higher, one's lower. She's definitely done that one.
Yeah. Like I look like I could be like an extra in the movie Juice or something. Shout out to Tupac Shakur.
You could give you like the hair like the Weeknd where it's just like all over the place. Like, just freestyle. Juice. Stop. I know that's Chappelle show callbacks. We like to quote a lot of stuff on this show. So
Samuel L. Jackson beer, right?
Yeah.
Juice, I think that was a good one.
They ate me. Fucking shocking. No, we're done. But no, man. So I think as far as like communities go, I mean, we could transition from the Derp stuff, but you guys obviously have one of the most active communities inside of Cardano NFTs, and with good reason, man. You guys have built a really strong following, built behind such a strong team that you guys have. With that being said, you guys are coming up on your first mint. Basically, I guess it's been a year. We were kind of talking about that on the live stream. So is this like the official, like you guys have actually sold something outside? Because I believe the relic stuff was in Rune, right? So with that being said,
exactly.
Yeah, 1 year though, like that's crazy. It's almost unheard of in this type of space to not go that long without a new mint and for you guys to kind of be successful. Like it's a testament to what you guys have been doing. So upon the eve right now, I guess as we release this, assuming everything hits the plan on the 18th, you guys are going to be dropping your comic mint over here. And we talked about it on the live stream a little bit over on the Monday. Can you guys kind of walk us through just briefly, like what we're going to be getting into this Friday here from your guys' perspective?
What do you want to know? Like the technical, boring aspects of like how the mint will work, or like the comic itself?
What is the comics? Like, what was your goal kind of with dropping this over here?
Okay, so big on lore, big on world building a whole narrative to flesh out the characters. I feel like, collectibles and whatnot are pretty worthless. Like, for instance, people have Star Trek memorabilia, but it's really just pieces of plastic and cardboard, whatever. But what really brings it all together is the world building, the memories they have of like Captain Picard or, Kirk, right? And that's what makes that toy or that base or that trading card or whatever become more than what it really, is, just an object, an inanimate thing. Yeah. And we kind of wanted to do the same thing here where it's like, okay, we want to tap into markets that are steadily going on an upward trend, that aren't in crypto, that could resonate with what we're doing, which is like having this geeky lore and like this mystery and whatnot. And I feel like the walls of text aren't a good way to go forward with it. So we just hit two birds with one stone. Okay, so flesh out the whole story visually for our holders so they can get a more exciting experience. And then B, for non-holders, be able to get our foot in the door and get ourselves in spaces that we normally wouldn't be able to as just an NFT project. So now we can go to the main goal is to, have IRL events, gallery shows, go to conventions for NFTs, but then also hit trade shows and conventions for comic books along the way and actually get these comics in local comic shops. And people can doubt me and whatever, but I promise you we will be accomplishing that. So that's like the main goal here is to actually get a following outside of this space that enjoys these comics.
I gotta ask, has it been fun as fuck making a comic? Like, it's got to be a blast on some level too, right?
Yeah, it's fun, but of course, there's all these like, after you stare at something for so long, then I feel like bad. I'll have to like go up to Boxlord. I'm like, I know you did this for like the last 3 months, and I made you revise this particular panel 30 more times, or 30 times in the past. But I'm going to need you to do it again. And it's like you keep looking at it so many times that like you start to like, I guess, reiterate way too much. I'm sure as creatives, you guys know this. Like if you stare at your creation, you almost start to hate it after a while, and you start to find all these imperfections that aren't really there, and then you kind of overdo. So yeah.
I was even gonna ask Nemesis, you might have it too, like where you're working on something for so long. I like lose my eye completely. It's not even like I hate it. It's just like, this is good. Yeah, this is what is this shit? Like I don't know. I have no idea anymore. Like I got 4 fonts here, and I know one of these is the one, but I just like I'm lost on it completely. I've just stared at it too long that I can't tell the difference. Especially when it starts coming down to like, shading and weight and all that like small stuff that goes into like certain fonts and making the picture. It's just like I gotta step away, or just gotta ask TJ and Tommy. Hey, Tommy and TJ, here's 3 versions. Pick which one. All right. I didn't like that one, but I'm gonna trust you guys for this because I have no idea anymore.
Yeah, I think you need like an objective, like that's the perfectionist, I think, in us, Demos. That's the whole 100% perfectionist in me, or I can stare at something and Tom's just like, dude, I just worked so hard on this, and he just built this whole crazy video sometimes, especially when we first got going. And I'd be like, dude, but can you change this one thing? And he's like, do you just want it to like, do you want me to build like a whole storyline? Do you want me to make a new edit in 3D? Do you want me to just to go become a video
make a whole
editor
fucking
and like
cartoon and like spaceship?
What else do you want, Tommy?
Yeah, but to be true, there were plenty of times where you'd be like, yeah, but wouldn't it be cool like if this happened and then they walked down and then like got in the spaceship and that happened and it was like on this background. And I was like, dude, do you want me to just like go to school for 5 years? And then I was like, well, but we could do this. And a lot of times that led to a lot of great ideas.
100%. Nemesis, from your kind of point of view, like who was the one that put this, the trailer and stuff like this? Is this you, Nemesis, or is this anybody else on the team? How are you guys putting some of the artwork and stuff together outside of Boxlord? We losing Nemesis over here?
I think she's just muted.
Okay. Yeah, if you whenever you want to, either way, no worries on there. If you find that mute button,
I think she's lagging. Look at her movement.
She's glitching a little bit.
As well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we're good. If you need to jump back or jump out, we can always go ahead and edit you back in.
I was gonna say before with the comic books, you were saying you want to be in comic book stores. I think that's such a great idea for the fact that, hey, I'm not really in NFTs, but I'm really into comics and I want to get involved in what you guys are doing and what you guys have going on over there. So I'm gonna pick up one of the comics versus the NFT first. And then, you know what, maybe I'll check out the NFTs, and I really like the comics. So that's a good stepping stone to kind of bridge the Web 2 to Web 3 era.
Yeah, and ultimately the truth is some people might just never align with the idea of the NFTs. I just want them still a part of our group, our community. I still, want them to like be behind the brand one way or another. And I think it's a fun challenge too, because it's like, okay, there's these cardboard cutouts. I can already envision it, right? Sitting at a table, cardboard cutouts of these characters, kind of intriguing. When you come up to us to ask us what it's all about, I hit you with the secret society, medieval times, blah, 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 blah. They're ducks. And then right then and there, most people should be like, pique their interest, like, oh, ducks. Like, come on, let me see. Is this like Donald Duck, Daffy Duck? Like, what are we talking about? And I think when they see that it has more adult like look and subject matter, that it might really fall in line with certain people. I know myself, I really enjoy it.
I do have to ask, are the characters in the comics going to have names for everything in there?
Yeah, these are the founding characters. Okay, so just a brief preface on like what's going on here, like a little summary. So season 1, 5 issues, right? Issue 1 is the before they founded the crypt and the Mallard order, right? When they were running away from the king and they found the relics and they made a plan and then they built the crypt. The next issue number 2 is the initiation. It shows all 3 trials. Some of your characters are actually already put into the story. Shout out to the Last of the Pride. He's one of them in there. And his character, his character looks like his original PFP with the lava. And the funny thing is that he speaks in only rhymes. Like every time you see the character speaking, it's only in rhymes. Yeah, and then after issue 3 is in the current time, like where we're going next with the story. And the following 2 issues after that is basically this building boiling point to kind of make you understand that like we may or may not be following someone who's like completely working 2 sides. And once that unravels, season 2 is where that really breaks down. And then it all goes to a head where, you know, the kingdom and the Mallard order have to decide, like, is it really the king? Is it really the Grandmaster Duck? Or is it both that really are just going to end up decimating everyone involved due to trying to gain power? So, yeah, I'm not going to say too much, but just know that the king is also looking for his own stuff that he keeps saying, that he keeps banning, right? But he himself is looking for his own ability to control said omnipotent power without letting his following know that he's really toying with this stuff. And the Grandmaster Duck is more of a Lich King kind of character, you know. It's been many, many years. This should be pretty obvious to most because in the original story, it was said that, you know, it's been like every 100+ years, like a new ceremony is coming around, and that this individual hasn't been seen for a long time, but he's able to speak to you in your dreams and through visions. And why is that? You know, it's because essentially he's in the realm of here and there, tomorrow, yesterday, and the present all in one time, like basically walking through the veil in and out whenever he chooses to. So that's explained in these comics.
And then I don't know if you could share this part. So like he's mentioned one person was kind of playing both sides as far as like, you know, through the story. Is it going to follow then different like point of views, different perspectives like throughout it? Or like is there different parts of the comic that'll switch perspective or kind of follow one main character through the times?
It's basically going to follow you as like a fly on the wall.
Okay,
you're
awesome.
perceiving all the
like
characters.
Awesome.
Then there's a narrating that kind of like, you know, lets you know what the current setting is. Like, you know, it's this day in the crypt. This is the chamber you're currently in. And then you get to watch the scenario. Like you see, you know, the masters talking in between themselves, how there was someone who broke into the crypt and they're trying to figure out who, etc. Excuse me. We do have ways that we're planning to flesh out further backstories in the future, with the RPG game being one of those. Then Katsu's missions is going to be another. And then, funny enough, one of the individuals a long time ago, I don't know if he's still a Mallard, but he gave us this story. And I had asked him, like, hey, could we use it in the future? He was like, yeah, just give me credits for it, but I want to give it to you as a gift. And then he inspired us to also write a backstory for someone else. And we've been talking to, I'm waiting on them to get back to us for the last like month and a half, but book.io is supposed to actually make the book of what this individual wrote. And it's like this backstory of one of the characters who basically was one of the reasons why everybody got to make it in the end.
That'd be an awesome connection too. That's great. I want to say something, Tommy and TJ, just, I mean, it almost brings it back to the Derp birds as well, because it's something you mentioned, Demosthenes is kind of making these memories in the space. And it's, you know, it's almost hasn't been long enough to really get to nostalgia level, I guess, like short-term nostalgia, but these projects that we've minted that have those moments that really stick with you, that are like a good memory that you then associate, you know, in a positive way too. It just gets you more connected. Whereas like I have with the Mallard order and breaking those codes with you guys, Derp birds we mentioned was like, you know, the incubator is just one that stands out so clearly, where there's so many projects that we just have gotten involved with that kind of have a forgettable experience. You mint them, maybe you remember making a decent flip, but even then, do you remember the exact numbers? Like, oh yeah, I think I did pretty well. Maybe I made like 208. I don't remember really. I know I did all right. That's all I remember about it at all. That's my only positive connection to it, as opposed to actually getting invested with these other ones because they've gone a little bit further outside the box and a little creative. We never kind of considered that as like how you phrase it as making a memory within this space. And that's really what those projects have done. And I'm sure there's plenty of other examples. None of the other ones come to mind.
Remember bad ones, baby.
Yeah.
Club.
But yeah, things like that. But I just, you know, these ones that actually go out of their way and were like very different, and how successful.
Hockey, no.
Dude, oh my goodness, man. I have so many bad projects, but I also have with this one reminds me so much of like the memories that we built with it. Like we've been with you guys since the beginning, even before you guys minted. So those early challenges and trials and things like that really like formed a connection to the project. And one of the reasons I think we really got a chance to stay in is you feel more connected with yourself, your PFP, whatever it is that you're rocking inside of there, but also the community. And then to see how you guys are not only a comic book, right, is a comic, right? Some people have their own, they grow up with those. They idolize maybe their heroes or villains, whatever it may be. With this, though, it's very interesting because you're taking this technology from Web3 and integrating it into it. And not only are you getting to experience it for the kind of the first time, but you can kind of reimagine and re-experience it with this new technology, the SIP68 that you guys are allowing it to level up. Because can you explain a little bit about what the decision was to actually be able to do that, or maybe even the possibilities you guys were like presented with? Like, holy crap, this would be really cool to actually be able to level this, and then we could add this to it. We could change storylines. What if they just looked one day and their comic was showing a different thing that unlocked a certain thing? Like, what were your kind of thought process with the leveling aspect once that technology was unlocked?
Well, it's quite simple. I'm trying to figure out a way to get the story in people's hands before all the manufacturing, before the shipping, before dealing with any kind of mishaps or whatever, right? That would probably take X amount of weeks. So then we're thinking in the macro, like, crap, if we're going to give out like 10 issues and we've had people already waiting so long for chapter 3 and the rest of the lore, we can't make them wait any longer. And then this is also a way for them to early support. Then the SIP68 tech comes out, and then we realize, okay, perfect, because it gets us an early test on using the tech, using everything behind the scenes and seeing how it's going to work for our ducks for the ascension, right? And then B, so let me just put it like this. If we wanted the actual digital NFT itself to actually have all the pages, et cetera, that'd be cool and all, but you'd be able to read it from pool.pm, which I'm not a big fan of. Because the main goal for us is to get you the physical copies. This is just your early contribution. So we give you discount, we give you the comic, and then we send it with a bit of little goodies that come with it, like stickers and pins, and everyone gets that. So that'll be nice. So the way we're doing, like, okay, it's animated and whatnot, it's not actually within the NFT, right? The NFT will then allow us to be able to add in new information to the metadata. Like, let's say physical copy comes in, we can add the ISBN number. You actually redeemed, we get to actually add that fact that you've redeemed. Now, since we have a token gated site and all of the files on the site are, we've checked over and over. You can't look through the robots.txt. You can't try to FTP file look into the server. You can't SSH into it. So you can't really like pull out any of the core files without having your wallet connected with your asset. And then that allows us to be able to give you like a really high res file that has animation to it, sound to it, sound effects, etc. And I feel like that's like a really fun, healthy medium, because we needed a way to not have to burn your NFT and have you go through this whole process in order to be able to showcase that you've redeemed it for your physical copy. So
I think it's cool too, because like you practically made like a little mini animated series with just the comic book visuals like that, and then sound effects. That's just dope.
I mean, animated is, it's still pretty.
It's still a picture. Yeah.
But I know what I mean, though. Like you bring it a little more life to it.
Well, sound and stuff like that, 100%
to it for sure.
Yeah.
And me and TJ are still formally requesting, like, in Star Wars, they have the Cantina band. We just want to be doing some of the sound effects or voices in the background.
Yes.
Yeah. That's just hit us up with one of those. Just episode 7 or something like that. It's page extra behind the credits after all the back pages, just like a behind the after credits page. Yeah.
We'll actually hold you to that. When
I'd be down.
Nemesis was showing, when Nemesis was showing the team your stream the other day, we were watching it, and then when you guys brought that up, we were like, oh crap, that'd be super sweet for like season 2. And because we're already we're finalizing on the 5th issue, so we can actually start that up pretty soon, in like the next month or two. We probably at least we'd be able to ideate.
So what we can do is we can send you over our Mallard PFPs. They can do like a little tiny, like little rendering of us in the corner, and we'll make some voice effects while something's going on in the main story spot. That'd be fun.
You had me the minute you started reading it, and then you did the whole voice changer. You know, you sounded all epic.
Demosthenes in the
Nah,
Mallard
you
order of
just-
the crypts. You
come
were
on.
waiting for this time, TJ.
I'm gonna cut that cord.
Yep.
I don't know. I know, Nemesis, we were losing you in and out right now. Is the mic working for you? Are we back?
Is it? I'm not sure.
It is.
It
yeah.
is.
Freaking
We're
Okay,
back.
I was mega lagging once. I didn't realize that I had like 8 million applications open in the,
Yep.
in the
Understandable.
background that I didn't.
Mhm.
You know, like I had Figma, Adobe, friggin'
ooh.
80
Oh.
tabs of Chrome.
So that's how my last computer broke. I had to get a new one because we started running way too much stuff, and then it just basically burned out my my CPU, and that was the end of that. So
I
there
catch
was
myself doing that in the live streams. I'll be like talking and you guys will not be really responding to me. And I'm like, they're not hearing me because I'm lagging. And oh yeah, I have like After Effects open and Photoshop still open. It's like, maybe if I close it, I'm probably should be rendering a file in After Effects during the live stream. I'll stop that.
Well, it's funny because it's like Twitter Spaces, you can get away with that, right? Nobody visually sees you, and they can't see like that little internal panic that you're having. Like, why isn't
And
this
it's on
working?
my
Like, I
phone,
can't.
so I can do
Yeah.
stuff on my computer.
When you're on
So-
video, you're like,
Yeah.
it's like one of the
Yeah.
two. Like, I just had to accept it. I remember there was a point where I just kept cutting in and out of the stream where I couldn't even stay on Zoom. And Tom just basically put like a Sub-Zero like thing where it just basically froze me because I was just standing at the screen like this, just looking at you guys. And we had like
Yeah, and he started doing it. Yeah, then he's son of a bitch, and he started doing it like where he would just freeze like in the middle of the show, but not actually be frozen. But we couldn't tell because his camera would freeze like every 10 seconds anyway. Sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
no.
yeah, you all, like, I
Exactly.
literally almost had us
And
right
that
there. I was
would've-
like,
And
yo,
then shit, they're just lagging again.
But I mean,
Ah,
yeah.
shoot.
So now, for the point is, nothing could be worse than Tommy's old computer that we had for like I don't know 60 episodes. What are we on? Episode 69 right now. So it's like
next week.
entire time.
That's the one. No, Nemesis, I know we didn't get a chance to really jump into too much of the comic side of things. What was kind of some of the interaction points with you in your process of involvement? Like we were talking about who was cutting together those trailers and things like that. Have you been like I know Boxlord's doing a lot of the stuff. Were you involved at all art wise in this?
More so direction for this. Yeah, Boxlord has done a lot of the more like, I wouldn't say like realistic, but more like comic art throughout the project since we onboarded him. So yeah, it's more so art direction at the moment while I take care of Raiders Guild. And I wanted to say earlier that yes, I do like when you're working on something for several million hours, it's just like, oh crap, like it's like I can't keep looking at the same thing and have more perspectives than what I do right now because my brain has frozen itself to death.
I start vibrating in my head. Yeah, it's like I can't even
Oh.
focus anymore. I just need to stop.
I mean, I even got to that point when we started swapping because we had so much stuff going on. I started doing the live stream. I learned how to do thumbnails. That was a whole new thing for me. And even I got down there
Well,
when
it's
I
a
was
lot of
first
fun
doing
at first though, because you're so like you're getting real
this is
creative
cool,
with
like-
it, and you're like, I just spent 9 hours making like this picture. It's like I mean, it's not bad first time, but like. just
Yeah, you
spent,
look back
9
at it, it's like,
hours.
I spent 9
And then
hours
later
doing
you're like,
that.
I don't even want to spend 5 minutes on this right now, like son of a bitch.
Well, because you were erasing literally every pixel zoomed in. I'm like,
Details,
bro,
though.
no one is
Perfectionist.
going to see that. No one is seeing that pixel.
Oh man, it was bad. Like I
And
didn't
then he
realize
doesn't
that.
notice when I make his forehead taller in our thumbnails.
Hey, just a little bit higher every little time right there, right?
Yeah.
if you-
I'm the type of creative that starts destroying things. Like if I stare at it for too long, I'll literally just be like,
pick it
screw
apart.
it, scrap the whole thing. No, like literally, there's been times where I've worked on something or like ideated on something or had them even help me out with something for like 3 months straight. And then I'm just like, I can't stand it. There's all these screw ups. So I don't want to wait on the day where like a clever holder goes, hey, how come you overlooked it? And it's like, I didn't overlook it actually.
Yeah.
It should have never been released like this, you know?
It's just it's a gift and a curse, but no, man, I think you guys nailed it, especially with Boxlord's direction. As we were always talk about this on the show of how you guys made ducks look cool and badass with these designs right here with the Duck Knights. Like I have to say, like this is such a cool way to go about this, and you guys nailed the look on this. Absolutely.
It's really interesting because like those helmets are also like you could see those in real life. Like they're not too far off from like what some
No.
just had crazy ass helmets, and it fits so well with the beak still. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, here's the beauty of it. That's you actually get to see them take them off, obviously, when they're arrested. Or jailed, I should say. But yeah, this is just the first issue. So you get to see like them as the Duck Knights, you know, and they're kind of like conquest days, sieging castles days. But then for the rest of the comic out, you don't really see them in these outfits anymore. It's just like,
Well, those are great callbacks. We were talking about too, just I don't know what the Ascended Ducks are going to look like, but how cool would it be to have a Duck Knight helmet trait on some of those? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know where you guys are going with it, but just throwing it out that way.
In the modern episodes or chapters, they'll have just a sailor suit, no pants on, right? That's a modern Duck.
Yeah, exactly. So you've seen the comic actually develops its art style too, funny enough. So we wanted to pay homage to like a lot of different eras, and issue 1 is like more so the late 80s, early 90s. Think like, Hellboy, Todd McFarlane, Spawn days like that. And then it starts getting more so like the image I posted today, where the duck is getting his sash or whatever, and it's like a little more hyper real.
Yeah.
But you'll see it over time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't know if this was part of the same comic in there. So this will be images that are used in those comics in later.
Yes
issues.
Yes and no. You'll see. There's a particular way that a certain character gets to perceive like the world around them, and it like shifts and twists every single time. So, but yeah,
cool.
You don't see them in helmets past the first issue, unless it's a flashback.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so if everybody wants to get their hands, we can we've already dove through all the details and all the when and whys and all that. So pretty much 555. You guys love that time. UTC over here this Friday. Different tiered pricing, public sale 75 ADA. Lowest discount you can get is if you hold a stash at 35 ADA. Shout out to 35. It was interesting for you guys when you guys were doing the tiered pricing on this too, that you gave the sash holders and School of Thoughts a little bit of a nod over the invitation letters, although the invitation letters did get 5 relics dropped to them. Was that like kind of like a calculated decision to pay a little homage back to them, or how did that what was the conversation just on that?
You literally called it on in your last stream. You were like, yeah, they haven't gotten as much love like the invitation letters and the last few things that have happened, like with the ordinals, the invitation letters still got more raffle entries, etc.
Right.
And at this point, it's like, okay, there's less revered occultist holders, at nearly all times highs. They were spending like, a little bit more than letters, or if not the same. Schools of thought. There's plenty of Mallards who hold tons of different ducks. They deserve some love. And then invitation letters. It's like, okay, we've always showed you guys love. We've even had, giveaways for you guys. We're about to like give you guys your own governance with using Summon DAO, et cetera, for your royalties. 100% of the royalties are already yours. So you're already getting a lot of love. I just felt like certain roles didn't get as much attention. And this time around, they probably should.
Yeah. No, absolutely fair. And it makes people happy in that regard. I think if you've held an invitation letter at this point, you guys are pretty happy with what you got so far. So I don't think there's any problem with that. And then you guys went for like a lower supply on this too. Is that more so just based on like kind of market sentiment overall, or is that just kind of where the sweet spot for you guys, where you wanted it to be at?
Well, that's the funny part. Logistically, and I hate to do this, people hate you being human and having to pivot, but logistically, right now, Crypt Keeper is like, hey, man, going based off like community sentiment right now, it's not gonna look too good for by the public round. Like people might not be able to pick one up. We might need to think about like adding a few more. For me, it was more so. Again, early support, but mainly if you want the comic, you got to get it physically. That's it. And if someone wants to let you pry or a comic out of their hand, that's the digital version, then you can get those. But it's like a more exclusive, like Kickstarter like thing, where because you were here early to give us a little boost, You know, you get these extra little rewards, etc. But besides that, our main focus is you want this comic, you just pick it up from our store for, you know, fiat or crypto, and you're getting the physical copy, not the digital.
So I love that you guys are putting the physical copy with it too. So it's like a tangible item. I love that. Like you said, I love collecting things like that. We've done that from some of our favorite projects. So speaking of that, we need to get some merch over from you guys. So I need to go 100%. On there. I've been slacking on that front, but yeah, man, I love the fact that you guys are kind of going that route. And I mean, that kind of ties directly into some stuff that we wanted to kind of talk about, like overview, not only in the Mallard order, but just overall, like the state of CNFTs when you talk like hype and sentiment and where we're at just in this like phase and cycle right now. There was we've talked a little bit about Frank from DeGods over here. If you guys aren't familiar, they were Utes and DeGods. He's the founder over there. He's probably one of the most famous Web3 founders in the space, one of the most popular, certainly. He dropped this 12-minute video because they had that art.
You're not playing that whole thing, are you?
No. Oh.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Guys, buckle up for 12 minutes right now.
I'm dipping with you tonight. I'm not staying for that whole shit. I ain't staying for that.
Right? Yeah,
yeah, guys, peace. No, I was going to give you a quick little summary. I'm not playing this video at all, but I wanted to reference this because there was a reply under here that's referenced to you, Demos. But I wanted to kind of talk about this because they had a fumble, essentially. They call it a fumble. They almost use it like a marketing stunt also. That people weren't too happy with the artwork and the dust that they had to spend to get this new art. It was a little underwhelming, I guess, to some. And he kind of was like, look, this is what you get for getting into our brand and our community. You get access to a really good group of people. You get social status inside of this Web3 world with our PFPs. You get access to different parties, and it's basically community is what his overall sentiment was. And dialing it back down, he also said his NFT's dead. I've seen that a lot from other people. But Demosthenes, you went ahead and commented back. It looks like over from Lorenzo from TGT, but he was like, my biggest takeaway was don't overhype things if it's not gonna live up to the hype. And then you pretty much were just like, well, what's the perfect answer if you don't constantly announce it's bad as well? No one has the answer to the real truth. Experimentation is key. People just have to become mature enough to understand this. I wanted to kind of throw this to you guys out there. Like this hype in marketing, especially in this type of a market, does it help or hurt your project? And is it the death of you when you guys start to actually deliver what it is that you guys have essentially hyped once it gets to that point?
It's like a double-edged sword, man. It's like, all right, first things first, right? If you don't market and you don't hype, like let's redefine hype, right? Let's say if you don't focus on trying to get the max awareness around what you're trying to min or offer, et cetera, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because you should be building up, right, towards something. And then you should be educating everybody why they're buying, what they're buying, et cetera. But the beauty about that is if you try to do the novel thing of like, well, let's not overhype because the product isn't fully ready yet. We'll instead build and while being quiet, the market then loses, they become fickle and go to the next thing. And I see some of the best builders get completely ignored every day. And it breaks my freaking heart. And that's because, again, they focus so much on the developer side of things and they kind of never really push their product out there. So it's like a screwed up, like double-edged sword in this space where like, if you don't go out there every single day on Twitter and Instagram, wherever, and promote, people will actually look at you like you're a clown in a way. They'll be like, oh, well, why are you letting the hype die? Why are you letting the community die? Why are you letting the sentiment die? And then what Frank found out is it's good to hype things up. It's good to like get attention, get awareness, and continue to keep it at a constant, get user retention like that and get new on board. But what happens is your floor price and the expectancy start getting to a level where you can almost not even match it anymore by X amount of value being offered in the product. Mm-hmm. Even though you already told them this is what what is to be expected, X, Y, Z. Now your floor price is 20,000. People are like, I don't give a hell what your roadmap says. What are you doing for me for 20,000? That's what it becomes. Yeah. And he brought out new art. How did that become like mega FUD? What broke my heart about it was, guys, he allowed you to just switch it or not. And you have 4 pieces of art now living it within the same one. If you don't like the new art, you could just go right back to your DeGod or stay that way. And then they went on them for the points parlor system. And it really like opened up my eyes on like, in my head, like on the fact that maybe the consumer doesn't know what they want.
100%.
You know?
I was going to say, and especially in the NFT market, people that are treating their NFT project like a business as they should and marketing the appropriate way, it's just, like you said, fighting a losing battle almost sometimes, because the consumers of said projects are really just looking to flip. They're just concerned about the floor price. So when the floor price starts to go down, they're like, oh, this shit's not doing anything. Why aren't you guys talking? As soon as you guys mention something, oh, the floor is too high. What's going on? Like, what can you get me for this? What's my return on investments for this NFT? It's like, bro, you just brought a profile picture. What more did you expect? The floor price went up because the community is awesome. Like, what more can you ask from me now?
Well, you get into like the whole like money's not really the concern. I'm here for the community, but at the end of the day, if that you're sitting, that's when on those projects that have that good foundation that, hey, the price is what it is right now. I feel comfortable. But as soon as somebody pushes that that chair a little bit underneath you a little bit, and you realize you're not as impenetrable or just basically you can be touched at that point, and your project can go like that in an instant. If the hype and the sentiment changes the other way, it makes people question themselves real quick. Like, am I really a fan of this right now? Or am I just really glad that I'm in on the hype and I've got something that's worth something? Because you fight a devil. A lot of people say money isn't the motivator out there, but it 100% at the root cause of it usually is what you're finding out. And the same thing, even when they decided they were going to change over from Polygon over back to Ethereum, a lot of people said it was money motivated over there. And maybe it is, but the people also were happy because it was going to a place where potentially it could be worth more money because there's more volume over there. So it was just an interesting thing, because it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. And it almost feels like having no announcement, but at the same time being active in the community is like the best like neutral ground for you to kind of be in, because you're not necessarily having your deliverable out yet. You're not necessarily always hyping it up, but they know something's coming. And that's usually when you're kind of in like that calm of the storm, the eye of the storm, before it gets bad. And then once you guys start to hype it up and you actually deliver, that's usually when the sell point or something happens, where like we just saw with DeGod. So it's interesting. I was just curious from a founder's perspective.
It's even interesting because we used to look at it like we had these projects that would, when they don't come out, released. And a big one that we remember was Ada Knots, where you didn't get to see what it was, and we saw the floor kind of really climb high right away, and it stayed there until they became released. And then obviously there's been other changes with that project now, but when they were finally revealed, the floor did not sustain at that level, and it almost felt like that same kind of thing. They like almost had an overevaluation where the hype was higher than the actual, like what he's just kind of like, I like making clay art. I like Web3. I like Cardano. I like the space and the community. And everyone was like, what's going on with this project? The floor's going crazy. Let's buy in now before we miss out, without realizing like, oh, it's just kind of like clay astronauts. That's cool. I mean, and you see that kind of stuff even happen with like startup companies or like Silicon Valley, where these companies get way overpriced on their initial runs, and then they can't kind of meet the like next part to get the next quota and get their next run of investments, and they fail because of that, because in the early part they're just way over evaluated, or their value.
I can't stand. High. And I completely agree with you, Tom. I mean, all of you guys made a perfect point. Like, you're one of the few people, the minority in the space, that could actually like take a step back from just being an investor yourself or a collector and like see the macro, like, okay, this is pretty difficult. Like, how will this founder like meet X demand now that the floor is 40 grand? Last week it was 15K. Not like, it's like, how do you keep that going? Eventually you hit a ceiling. Like, I gave you my Tesla. I gave you my house. I don't know what else I can offer. I'll give you back rubs. What I don't like though.
I'll give you soap, but you have to pay $100 shipping.
Oh.
Yeah. Customs. I don't like though how like and Frank is a perfect example that they're doing it to him right now. The community starts trying to pressure you to stick to your original path to an extreme, to the point where you've actually realized where where you need to pivot and where you could revise on your original planning. And you've done all the ideating, you've done all the breaking down of everything, and this is what's best, right? Whether that be because of X amount of budget costs, whether that be because, you know, overhead change, something in the or the climate change, whatever, right? And the users, like Frank had said, oh, he's going to stick around for Polygon 6 months ago. People were coming at him for that, like, oh, you said this. And it's like, well, look, he realized even though Polygon's great and all, there is not the community there that will help build up his brand at a faster rate like he expected. It's more like building out stuff right now. There's not like really loud community. So the best move for him to get the most optimal amount of people would be go to Ethereum. People are trying to get on his neck for that. It's like you have to allow founders to sometimes pivot and improve.
It's just like I said, the money motivator for people holding all this stuff. It's like you're talking to your shareholders in like real time, and they're seeing like your real time reactions almost to a degree in this space where there's like, all right, oh, that didn't go exactly how we planned it. What are you guys going to do? And it's like they have that instant access to you guys, especially with spaces and these videos and Discord and all the different mediums they have to chat with people. And I think that's the unique thing about this space is that people maybe, you know, they basically bring their expectations like way up above, like you said, a normal level that would make any sense for any reasonable person to like rationally think about. And it's almost like the FOMO inducing thing. And I think that almost ties like right back into like the marketing part of this, where it's like, hey, like maybe we are building this up way beyond, like we can only deliver so much to you guys before you guys are just like, what do you want from us at this point? Like I want it to be $100,000. The Bored Apes, this thing was an anomaly, it feels like, in this space. And I don't know that we'll ever see anything like that ever again. Maybe we will, who knows? But it certainly feels like that's
not for profile picture.
Yeah, it's evolved at this point. Like that was just the Wild West stage of NFTs, right? Like things were just going crazy. Nobody knew what it was yet, and people had a ridiculous, like I said, expectation of it. And now that we're here where we're at, they're demanding more from stuff where things that are launching now that would have been revolutionary back then are just getting overlooked, like you said. And sometimes the people who are building, it's like you really do have to find a brand, find a community, find people to like attach to first, and then you can really start to show them the value prop of like, here's all the different things you get with us versus here's everything all at once. And then the people are like, yeah, I don't really like that. And they just move on, and you just wasted all that time.
We've talked about that on the flip side too, Tommy, because we've been talking, you know, McCossie a whole bunch lately, and just talking about projects from back then, the ones that we minted, you know, Baby Alien, you were just saying, TJ, but some of those projects early on where if they were to come out now or announced now and had like, you know, no new additions, just announced as they were back then, would they succeed or would they sell out or have any real hype? Everyone was just like, oh, this is just a picture like for Twitter. It's like, doesn't go further. Oh, you're going to have a season 2 or you're going to release more pictures for Twitter. All
mutated
right.
Though. You get mutations.
You know, stuff like that. And just like, not to say there's no value to those projects and you can't have fun with that art, but just to see like how, you know, the sellouts we were having back then and the floor prices we were having with the relative, especially the price of ADA, would they get anything close to that now? And like you said, Tom, there's just those higher expectations from projects, which is good too. We like to see the space grow. It's something we've always said we want to see, you know, where we get better projects from is us as a community holding some projects to some higher standards that are going to come out and ask for these kind of sums of money. So it's nice.
You know, the irony though to that is, okay, I used to think that myself. And then I'm like, okay, the community says they want the best utility. Then you see projects like on Ethereum literally give you like, or Solana, like Famous Fox Federation. They've literally done every bit of utility you can think about, like anything, lending platforms, arbitrage, flip coin, auction houses, raffles, the ability to customize your PFPs. Yeah, basically. Yeah, sure. I mean, like the biggest beta ever. Shout out to JPEG Junkies. And you know, even the biggest IP plays, like for God's sakes, Yuga landed themselves with one of the top people from Activision. Like they dropped the metaverse demo that actually worked with thousands of people concurrently playing. This is like unheard of, even in a AAA gaming world. I mean, look at Amazon dropping New World. The servers crashed on like the first week. Yeah. The other side didn't do that. So I was like, whoa, this is super bullish. No, still tank. Still price go down. Still people complaining. It's like, So yeah, I also think it's a part of what's currently the market is like overall, like market sentiment as a whole.
Yeah. Reminds me of dudes like Ted Lasso. You guys watch Ted Lasso at all? Be like a goldfish. It's like just like that. Memory's gone. They forget what you did in 2 seconds because they're on to the next. Over there, I'm curious too for you, like Nemesis, being like as an artist inside the space and before Web3. Like, how does that like coincide with you, where people put valuations like at ridiculous, sometimes pricing from like an artist perspective, only to then like flip it on the other way of like, hey, I just dropped this and I feel like we did something really well here, and it didn't go that way. Like, how has it been from the artist perspective of launching that, seeing people flip and seeing people kind of value your stuff? Maybe you even they're like, why are they paying that much for this?
I'm gonna think about that one. It's different because like in my personal life I've been exposed to all types of investors in the IRL art world, so it's like a very skewed perspective in terms of what investors are looking for and what kind of person that investor is. Investor, supporter, whatever, art patron, like everyone has a different angle to it, especially when it comes to like there's the IRL stuff and then there's the crypto and NFTs. They're entirely different, but some things overlap as far as like particular values that people seek. But like, I don't know, it's kind of like bastardized my view on art in general, to be honest, because like I've been making art since I was like a baby. I couldn't even like since I didn't talk, so being exposed to a lot of things where I've been an artist myself. I've been an art assistant to majorly famous people who sell their works for like tens of thousands of dollars easy. And then for myself, I would grind my ass off for like several hours or whatever on the singular piece and like be humble about it all depends like on what the work is, what it's for. Also like for me, in terms of my personal background, the client really defines what that value is too. So there's a lot of things that there's a lot of variables that interplay together. And that's like, it's weird, there's the pseudo variables and then there's the actual ones where it's like, okay, this person is a very high-end client. They're expecting this particular thing. We have to make it exactly, this is their budget versus okay, this is how we value ourselves. What's going to be the right spot? What do we think? What is the current market sentiment? There's so many things that interplay with how like these NFTs that we drop are. I don't know. There's so many things that play into both elements. And for me, for example, like I have so many different kinds of art that I personally do, and nowadays I can't even price my own work. It's so difficult because one, NFTs have completely diverted how I've originally seen art in general for myself, digitally, even my design work for clients. Everything is so different, and so it's
I would say it's definitely a different consumer too. Like NFT art, like people that want to get those, and people in the real world that want to get art. Because the NFT people that are into art are looking for like the flip of the art. A lot of them are not really looking like subjectively. Oh man, that's really cool. I really like how they did that. I really appreciate the art.
The tangible part of it too, right? Like when you buy it, you can showcase it. It's not like you're still in that old world where like nowadays, like everything, you have a digital identity. I think we're so like when we say we're early, like in a lot of aspects of that, we are where you like.
Not only that, the NFT consumers are like kind of assholes sometimes. Like, who are you picking apart my art that I just drew? Like, you're just some person on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you dealt with real clientele that like really appreciate your art and for what you've done, then you got these people on Twitter or whatever Discords that are saying like to the artist, like, I don't really like this part of it or that part of it. Like, I'm sure it's just a big different change for you. Like when you see stuff like that.
I mean, you're free to be a critic, TJ.
What do you mean?
It's definitely subjective.
Yeah, exactly. It's art. You can say you don't like it, or pick it apart if you don't. I mean, it's her that can say, "The fuck do you know?" Sure,
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. Like as the artist, like you're upset like with the NFT consumer because they're like picking apart the art when they like don't have a knowledge.
I feel like it sucks. You can't get caught up in that too much.
Yeah, like Tom just said. I mean, the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It's the person bought it, they're the perceiver, they're the one who can opinionate. I mean, I can't actually say to a person, no, this is good art. You don't know what you're talking about. That person is perceiving it themselves and they think it sucks. So therefore, in their world, it does suck. And we can't do anything about that.
Well, I'm saying the separation of like in real life, like getting critique versus like this NFT side getting critique is like in real life, a lot of people love the stuff. And like in the NFT side, people are like, I don't really like this. Like, well, that's weird. All these people over here like it in real life, but you guys don't like my stuff type of thing. Like, it's just a different kind of a perspective that you got to have. Or you
get, I mean, our show's not big in India, it just happens. Some
that's what I'm saying.
Audiences just don't like it. I can't imagine how much some of the pricing, I mean, fucks with you, Nemesis, and just artists. I mean, it's something we've talked about. Artists in general, yeah. Because when you're like, all right, I have like degrees in art history and art theory, and I worked under this artist or in this gallery, or have training for this long in this place, and I'm just trying to make art that's true to myself and create something new. And then this person just made $200K making 15 hat colors and 15 different types of glasses. And then they randomly generated it on a pickle or something. And people went crazy for it. But it's like you said, though, TJ, it's also the point, then if you're finding people that can actually want to buy your art because they like it or have some sort of connection or attraction to it, as opposed to just like, I don't care which one I get. I mean, if I get a 101, cool. But either way, it's gone in my wallet in 10 seconds. So it doesn't matter to me.
Well, we're just not only an art project. The art is just, especially with the NFTs, it's just to represent, the memberships, who you guys are. And then there's other assets that then you're supposed to combine with said membership, your Mallard, that can be your alt ego in Web3. And then that's supposed to add some dynamic use cases and utility in the project. But overall, it's an odd thing because it's not like making one-of-one personal art here. It's making like Web3 alt personalities that fit into the overall narrative that we're trying to flesh out.
The order.
Oh, I was waiting for the voice there.
Before Tommy wraps us up here on the back end, I did want to ask, you mentioned earlier, Demosthenes, about the sash, where there's kind of a way for certain comic holders to kind of get that character to get the sash. I know you have a lot planned and you're working on a lot currently. I mean, more than a lot, it sounds like, if there's even more than a lot. But is it ever even like kind of come into consideration sometime down the road? I forget who makes those games, like the Walking Dead game, the choose your own adventure games. Telltale, like a Telltale almost type of game, almost like a visual novel, more like a click through kind of thing where you can kind of have some choices or make.
Yeah, that was our whole idea. Yeah, of course, that was our whole idea. If you remember in the manifesto, we showed you a proof of concept. I mean, and then I updated you guys that we had to stop development on that for a little bit to actually move forward on other things. But that was the proof of concept. It was supposed to ultimately have a UI. We're still going to be releasing the proof of concept sometime late autumn.
Yeah.
More tied into the comics, though. Like as the comics develop out, would that stay like within the comics, or would it be kind of now? Because now that you have that coming out, almost like after the seasons come out, then sometime down the road, like, hey, here's like an extra little piece or continuation of a certain character, kind of.
So this is where side stories break out, and then this is where season 2 actually plays.
The Disney Plus show.
And then, basically the Star Wars novels.
Yeah.
I was mentioning that in chat yesterday that, we have events planned for like the season 2 stuff. So you guys can actually add in some of your backstories. And we're actually going to go all the way back in time to some of the early submissions for backstories, and implementing some of those. But in the sense of the game, like I said before, different aspects of the story will be fleshed out. Like maybe there was a couple of things left out on how Grandmaster Duck became this at this point of his life. And now in a Dunkatsu mission, you bump into an item that actually describes the realm he had gone to. You're supposed to now tie those two strings together. In our RPG game, it'll be the same thing as well, where you get to pick all these little remnants of where gaps were left off in the story. You get to fill them in with these, other avenues. And I feel like that's proper world building, where almost everything you put out plays back into it and further fleshes it all out.
It allows us as community members or fans too to like decide kind of our involvement. Like, hey, if the comic's enough for you, like, all right, that's good. Like if you need more, you want, like, because I love details. I'm reading a book right now, but it's like an older book I'd read. So it was like a young adult book. And was one of my things reading those even growing up, where it's like, I need more. Or like something like Game of Thrones, where it goes the opposite side, or, he explains something for 15 chapters before you even get into the story. So that allows you, though, I like that, because you can choose like how much, like, oh, I need more of this, like right now, like I can't wait. So that's awesome.
Are we going to get the backstory of the composition notebook feathers, and how those came to be?
Oh my God, give it up.
The TV
it's static,
The static.
bro. It's static. Yeah, like,
Static.
In the paranormal world, also like you can go down so many like avenues with this, like spirituality, paranormal, then also like scary movies, paranormal, etc. The white noise is supposed to be like that, like baseline frequency that you can essentially like go in between worlds, or other dimensions, or speak to the unknown. So of course, since these characters are like dabbling in like these taboo teachings, static would make sense, because they're also talking to the other side, since some of them don't even have a neck,
or they're small little ducks that got trapped in a composition notebook. I mean, you could go either way, but I see it's all subjective. But no, I just always love giving
they each their own, bro. If that's what you see, just like the fart eyes, sure. I see a
fart eyes is a great trait. Like, I mean, you can't argue with that one.
Speaking of the bowl cuts, though, that kind of has like a monk haircut written all over it. As far as fitting into some of the lore, I think that'd be perfect.
Absolutely.
Or you're on channel 3 before you connect your console, and
oh yeah, exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow, you brought it back with that.
Yeah.
Or when you're like if you're drinking a sparkling water, same sensation.
Yeah.
We're going deep into
That's
that.
how static tastes. Yeah.
Man.
See, Channel 3, there was a time too, like way back, when they'd have like, I don't know if it was HBO, where like the adult stations would be like way high on the channel list, and you'd see all the fuzz, and every once in a while something would peek through. I don't know if you can, DJ and Tommy.
Tom was going Skinemax.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, late at night. No, they were like, oh no. The black box. Remember those cable boxes?
Trust me.
We're reaching a Tom core memory here.
Some Tom lore there for sure.
Yeah. The channel 3 just dials it back right there. That's and then you wake your parents up, because the TV's now going, and it's just everybody in the house is up. They know you're late. It's a bad. That was bad. That's when sleepovers just went, oh, we're over now. Game's over.
Yeah.
Wow, you just dialed back a child.
And you were playing 4-player on like a 28-inch TV.
Yeah, GoldenEye all day. Yeah,
on like this tiny little screen, where it's like no screen peeking, and it's like, dude, I can see everyone's screen at once. It's a 20 yeah, it's so small. What are you talking about? Like,
those good old days, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of games, I saw you, Demosthenes, calling out people for Street Fighter, saying you're the man in that game.
Oh yeah, I can, like 9 out of 10. I'll just recommend. Like, dude, first of all, I used to sit at the arcade in Chinatown Fair with like 1 to 2 quarters max. I've also played, like, for hypothetical educational reasons, because I've actually owned the actual copies of these games. I've played emulators and ROMs with the actual online counterpart. And there was this whole underground forum world way before Xbox 360 had online with Street Fighter. You'd be able to play the arcade cabinet versions with this slew of people out of like all over the world, including like top professionals would be there. And that's where I really got my chops up, and the arcade. But on Street Fighter V, for instance, when it first came out, I'd be sitting online for, I'm talking weeks on end before I'd see one loss. And in those days, I'd be playing like 4 hours a day. And it's like,
who's your main character?
You just don't forget it. M. Bison all day. I play charge characters. Yeah, the ones that you gotta like hold back for 2 seconds, press forward, and then you could do your move.
And he did a little flip, a little slide. Oh man.
Yeah, Psycho Crusher, the knee stomp. But the cool thing is when you know how to play those, you don't do the noob thing of walking backwards. What you do is there's this little trick where you go forward, backwards, and then forward again, and then back. And what happens is your character just stays perfectly still, but your opponent can actually tell you're actually charging the character still, and it's called charge canceling. And then you're constantly playing with their mind like that too.
I believe you now. After hearing all that, that's
I mean, that was
way
over
too
my head.
intense.
I'm more of a.
I'll play you guys for some ADA live stream and mop the floor with you.
Only if you rematch me.
I'm gonna play in Mortal Kombat probably.
Yeah, he'll do Mortal Kombat. I'll do Marvel vs. Capcom.
No, I was gonna say FIFA. You give me FIFA.
Word? Marvel, I could do MVC too, bro. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Cable, I'll get Cable. Get.
I was just gonna say, don't tell me you're the assist. You got the high tier cheesy team. Sentinel comes in, that's the airdrop.
Was
Hyper Viper beam over and over.
Nemesis, you relating to this down there?
What's his name from Mega Man?
I like Tekken.
Tekken's fun. What the hell are those little guys called? The little droid.
It's like the little yellow Lego block man. I forget his name.
That was my third.
His name.
Super
Troll.
Oh man, I'm lost right now.
I was Blanca main in a Street Fighter.
Yeah, see, I was like
Jury all day.
Just like shooting the whole time.
You? No, I was definitely like a Ken, kind of. I don't know
you
why.
You would be typical Ken,
that's how you use
or
Super
just
Smash too.
Yeah. No,
Tommy was more involved with the adult channels on the black box. I get it, dude.
he's waiting for that moment.
Watch out for those high channels, man. Catch those little through the static. I don't even know what we're talking about.
That's what Through the Wire is about. I thought. At least it was for me growing up. Getting those adult channels, uncensored coming through the static.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's happening? What's new in the space though, man? What are you guys excited that's coming up right now that you've seen that looks pretty cool?
I was gonna say we were gonna talk
Makasi card packs.
You know, that's what I'm excited. We got a live stream on Monday. Yeah, live stream. Actually, they open up on Sunday, so I'm gonna tap into this. I got like 70 something of them right now.
Yeah, we're not gonna open. We're not just gonna sit here and watch you open all those. So that's fine.
No. So yeah, we got that happening right now. The other one is
House of Titans too. We've been intrigued with.
We're watching it. Yeah, just back and forth on it.
We like some of the artwork on there, not all of the artwork.
Still early, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The other next week I was going to say though is Dex Hunter on the 22nd. That's what I'm looking forward to. The hunt token. They announced all the details for that next week. So it's a 1 hour sale. I'm wondering if the Degens are going to come out like they did for Li-Fi for that. So got some ADA ready to go. I don't know about you guys. Toolheads too, another one at the end of the month. That's another one.
Yeah. Wait, what is it?
Toolheads. What's CNFT?
By CNFT.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I'm really excited for that. I'm a huge fan of Legion of Brad, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, we had this as a topic on there, but we're not even like diving into it. When you look at all that stuff, it really is like these utility NFTs over here where they're dropping PFPs now, where they had like say Tappy Tools. Like, I'm still not a fan of the Penguins over there, but you can't argue with what Tap Tools did. That's why I think CNFT Tools has a very interesting mechanic to it because they've got really good artwork on top of the analytics now. And I'm wondering if they're going to kind of replace, take over a little bit of that niche right there. And then stuff like Dex Hunter, like that's just another, like it's a sniping utility thing where people want, they want that service these days. And I think that's like, can a PFP like almost like stand up to those kind of things right now? And that's an interesting conversation you can have right now because a lot of these, and ones that have like an actual product behind them, that put a PFP out that's somewhat clean, man, you've got some competition now in the space for that. And it's an interesting conversation to say the least, I think. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on any of that.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you. But I would say that the space still requires variety and options. You could have that. You could still have a chilled Kong. You could still do a Tappy Tools. So I don't see like people giving up their whole collections just so they can get 5 Tappies, because once you hit the threshold of what's needed to get max suite permissions on the platform, you're pretty set.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if you want to talk about the whole PFP side, then they have to compete with what it takes to consistently keep people engaged and constantly going while still providing all these iterations for such a complex platform.
Yeah. I think that is an interesting one. I mean, from your guys' perspective, outside of some of the ones we just mentioned, you guys interested in anything coming up or anything catching your guys' eye?
For me, it's CNFT tools for sure. Because like I said, I really like Legion of Brad. He's also our stake pool operator. I've liked him since the day I got to see CNFT.tools and would use it every day as like information aggregator to get all the floors and the if you guys remember, that was like the meta back in the day to like see the something land on the floor quicker than on the CNFT.io.
You went and filtered it. Yeah, you had to go filter by on sale
all day.
Absolutely. We were talked about them too because I realized they were back. It's 2 years now. August of 21 is when CNFT tools went live. It's crazy that they've been in the space pretty much since that beginning time too.
Since the beginning for me and TJ, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was right there when you guys. Pretty much that was like the meta, right? We said, hey, go log on to CNFT tools and go check your rarity. Like that was. Like
I still have a bookmark because of that. Like those were some of the first ones I bookmarked for our Cardano side.
Yeah. Nemesis, you collecting anything these days, NFT wise?
I mean, I still have the decks that CNFT Jungle Pass.
The Jungle Pass, yeah.
Yeah, I minted that and I never sold it. So I mean, I'm gonna put it to use next week and see what happens.
Yeah.
How many comics are you gonna buy on Friday?
1,000.
Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, as far are you guys like still collectors? I know obviously before you guys had the project, I know Demosthenes, your kind of history, you spoke about how you guys used to go and collect stuff, flip stuff, do all that. Nemesis, were you in on that side too? Before you guys dropped the NFTs?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you still guys like? Do you? I know.
Well, do you mint masses? Do you mint masses or just support with just the one? Masses and flip.
Like me and TJ usually get one or two, or Tommy will mint like 93 at a time.
I'm more like it depends. I mean, it all depends.
That's true. Like, yeah, I mean, TJ, we've gone for more. That's fair. Yeah. Generally, though, you and me are yeah, exactly. We'll bump it up to 3 or 4 sometimes. It's one of those 15 minutes, we'll get 10.
It's funny because groups always have these dynamics. Like, back in the day with us, like it'd be me, Crib Keeper, her, and then we would run like this small little alpha group where we like put people under our wing and like show them things. And they would get like, something that sounded reasonable, 2, 3. And then me and Crib Keeper were always the like devious masterminds where we would like strategically lay out the pros and cons of why we're going to get X amount and then set out to accomplish said task.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still collect. The problem with me now is that I'll be honest, I have my own personal wallets that I geek the fuck out with. I'll even still buy rug pulls just because of the art. Like I'll still buy Coco Locos just because it's silly as hell and it's meme worthy. But I can't do that from my Demosthenes wallet. And I learned that very early, where I would see people actually say like, oh, I noticed you have like 3 of these. It must be good, right? Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, no, I'm not about to watch you people do what I recklessly like to do just because I find this fun right now to mint this. Like I can't have
Demosthenes bought Coco Loco. These must be taking
breaking news.
He must be buying them.
You guys can make an NFT alpha channel. It sounds like over there. Just hype up some projects. We talked about that though.
They don't have enough work to do, right? Come on.
No, but I'm saying like it almost comes with like a territory of like a responsibility that you necessarily don't even want. Where people just are like, oh, you're doing this? Well, I should do this because they seem successful over there. And like,
and then it's like, what the fuck? Like, why'd you tell me to do that? And it's like,
and they lay all their mistakes and their bad, poor choices on you. Yeah, and you get blamed for it no matter what. That's why
I have my squash sweater wallet was my first wallet, but that's kind of my show one, exact same thing. So that's the one
I've got like 5 different wallets, but every time we do the streams now, everybody just knows my wallets are. I need to start changing them again. People start.
You show your NFTs. Oh, you tag them right back to your wallets.
Yeah.
And you post on Twitter all the time from all your different wallets you have.
Hey, you show like treasure troves of NFTs you've gotten.
Yeah.
And
who doesn't like to flex that?
Can't hide on the blockchain for sure.
Yeah. Nah.
That's one thing I really, really miss. Just being able to be like, oh man, I used to love that. You just walk into the Discord, everyone's like, oh, look what I got. You'd be like, oh yeah. Well, did you guys see this? It's just like a ginormous screenshot with tiny micro NFTs from how many you have. and everyone's mind is blown. I remember for Dead Rabbit, shout out to those guys. They thought that I literally bought it. And that was the beauty of it. Like, if you really flip, then do it the right way. Like, be that crazy person who will make like 30 wallets so you can really get as many as you want. That's if you're that guy. No bot. But I remember I had gotten like 30 something rabbits and everything sold out in like 3 minutes. And people were legitimately starting to FUD them and claim that it was their minter. And I was over and over again trying to get them to realize, like, no, I'm just that crazy. Like, I stood up all night making 25 instances, like, to be able to run them in tandem with each other.
Those boys are crazy. When we had an alpha Discord amongst us, shit, it was like they treated mints like a video game where everyone would have like a ton of instances, and everyone's different, you know, like it's like Ender's Game. I don't know if you guys read that book, but like everyone's at their station, and it depends on where your head is at. You don't know what the next dude is doing, or and it's funny because like Demo is that crazy where he would he would go for like over 30 minutes at a time, like in like video game mode, like just
that's why I hate when people are like
no botting, no nothing like that, where it's just all organic, like
it's commitment.
Yeah, I watch all these and dude, I held so much of it, to be quite honest, because I really love a lot of these projects and I wanted to see them like survive. I really can't stand like when people tell me bullcrap, like, oh, you're probably extracting liquidity. Like, bro, you are going crazy about losing 30 ADA. Like, I have literally lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, like in the span of, hypothetically, of course, in the span of like 2.5 years. You know, and it wasn't even just chasing money. It was really like, oh, I really believe this white paper. Like, I truly want to see these guys shine. I'm going to grab like 20K that I just like made, and I'm going to put it right back into it. And it didn't always work out. Even I have like a Gala Founders node. I bought that literally when they first dropped them. And now I can't even sell it. So I just can't stand people are looking at me like a fair weather founder. And I've been in the trenches in the mud as a collector, and I understand the user experience. That's why I'm always trying to remind people, like, you have to actually understand what you're actually trying to buy, because right now we have this disconnect where we define the word utility to mean rev share. And I think that's where we kind of lost ourselves. Like, if you read the white paper, you read the roadmap, and you're getting exactly that, then
what do you want? Yeah,
that's where the journey's going.
I think people forget too that most of the founders in the NFT space were collectors themselves first. They were NFT minters, just like the people that are minting your project out now. They forget that, like, oh wow, why does he have so many of this now? Like, what are they doing? Like, people forget that there's a big disconnect with that.
Oh, you're selling? Oh, God forbid you take profits in this world.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
we don't get that side because it's not a project. But the one thing we have every once in a while is just, we can't talk about a project without someone like, oh, way to pump your bags, guys. And it's like, we have like one of those between the three of us. Like, literally, we just like the project. We like talking to them, and we like what they're doing coming up. It's got us excited, but like, we have one in our like shared wallets.
In our shared wallet, it's just one of.
We're definitely waiting to bank on that.
Dude, that's the sad part of it sometimes, where you're like actually just honestly collecting. You honestly think it's cool, or you want to just mint it for the mint experience. Sometimes the mint experience is like, shout out to Old Money, man, freaking always top notch. Mint experiences are like, I don't even care what I get at the end of it. I just want to experience how freaking sick this is. And then you have an individual who's like, I just all in. And you're just like, wait, what? Yeah, I saw you get it, and I know it's going to 10x. So what I did was, my wife was sleeping, and I took the credit card I'm not supposed to use, and I bought 10 of them. We're going to make it, right? And you're like, I never said
put
that.
That evil on me, Bobby. Yeah.
I just thought it was funny. I just wanted to hear the guy slapping his thigh sounds. That's all the reason I did Old Money, for sure.
No, that's got to be a tough road to like, and I get it, man. Like, it's fun to have those experiences, and then sometimes you can even get carried away sometimes doing that. But then if somebody catches you because you're under the limelight,
Tommy.
I had 198 at one point. I minted at that point, and I've taken
Get a little carried away sometimes.
I've sold like maybe 30 of them, like just to take back. I'm like, I spent way too much on this. I probably need to get some money back on some of it, but it's not like I'm like out of old money. It's just because like I had fun doing it. It's my money. I spend it how I want to spend it, and if I want to get some of it back, I have every right to do that. And that's my responsibility that I take on as a consumer at that point. But yeah, it is a tough light. People put you under a microscope as soon as you step into the spotlight, and I can only imagine it gets amplified when you guys are a popular and well viewed project inside the space when you guys do personal things like that. So yeah, I was just curious. But yeah, as far as utility NFTs go, I do think that they're having their time to shine, and I just think as we move into this new phase of NFTs, as it moves back towards a bull cycle, you're going to see a lot of those. You will see more of the PFPs start to have a chance again against some of those ones, as long as they've got a good community behind them. And they're engaging. And like you said, you still got to be active, regardless whether it's hype or marketing or not. You still need to be involved with what's going on. People need to be able to hear from you, even if there's not like groundbreaking news every single day, or a milestone every single month.
Yeah, because you can have the best tool in the world. If there's no daily active users, do you even have a tool at all? So that's where a lot of people are going to find themselves battling with when the bull market does come, because one thing we all forget, the noise, it gets so loud. There's so many mints, so much bullish stuff on the timeline, so many advancements happening. If you're not making noise, you will get left in the dust. You know what's really cool though? Just watching these two giant aggregators come back from slumber when we all thought like they were done, right? Like, see, if you guys remember, Jungle came out to compete with CNFT tools, and now they're back at it again. So to me, it's exciting, dude. It's super exciting.
I love that. And you're going to see the crazy part too, is that when stuff does pick up, these guys are, if anything, they have a great competitive advantage right now because things are slow and it's easy to get seen, especially if you've got a pretty decent viable product. But it's when those big, imagine OpenSea puts a wallet connect in for Cardano. Now all these marketplaces are shivering. They're like, holy shit, like there's a really good product over here. I got to compete with this now. So yeah, like this is the time to be able to really establish your community, establish your brand, and get to the forefront. So I think that's a good, in the meta of utility NFTs, now's a good time for them. But like we said, we've already seen the hype time for PFPs when everything was first kicking off. And you guys now, like, especially because you're such a unique project, I think when it comes down to the creativity portion of that, there's nothing like it in the space, at least from our perspective. I
was just going to say, and you said, it's easy to get seen, and I agree. And like you and Demosthenes and Nemesis, you were saying earlier, especially like if you're not doing that marketing, it's easy to get seen as long as you're trying, you're engaging, you're taking the time, or you have someone on the team that's taking the time to do spaces or come on shows like this, because it's something that you hit at Demosthenes with daily active users. I mean, like some of these projects we're seeing that develop games, especially some that are developing games that aren't single player, they're going to rely on other people playing to make that experience fun, or you're going to be in there by yourself. And they may have a working product, they may have a game that's actually pretty fun or cool to play, but if everyone's kind of moved on because you have not been engaged over the past year and a half, 2 years you developed, you're not going to have anyone playing. You're going to have the 5 people in the Discord that still hang out, going crazy for it, and it just won't get like that kind of, it's very hard once you stop moving to get that momentum going again. So we have so many projects. I'm hoping that some of these games actually pan out and we get some use. Even what was the one we've been playing recently, Tommy? Not Splitgate, but Worlds Within. Yeah, you know what I mean? That's a great example where they're making like a shooter, and if it's going to be an online multiplayer. So like the first time you joined, Tommy, you had to make a server by yourself. The only time we've really seen people, it's very early stages, but is when we join as a group. So if people aren't really getting hyped up enough to get into it, then when you have the full launch, it's just gonna be that much more of a struggle. Because we had no idea too that was coming out or at the stage it was in.
It's just the importance of community, right? You got to have a user base to build off of to be even to sell that product to, because you can build, like you said, the coolest thing, but nobody's using it. Who's using that right there? Daily active users, and then you just wasted all that time and effort and money for nothing. So you got to know your audience. You got to really, like you said, get out there and build and be in the community, talk to the people that you're selling to, or go find and chase and the people that aren't there and, you know, bring them in and get them to realize, hey, I want to be a part of this over here. I love what you guys are doing as far as the Comic-Con thing and tapping into a new audience that's not necessarily in Web3, but it has the potential to pull them in.
And here's the beauty. You guys are like the testers, the first ones in with everything, right? And I feel like most founders should see it this way, especially for the ones with gaming. With you guys, if you enjoy the product, then basically the founder should find a clever way to get you guys to be incentivized to want to promote it. Now, when a user from outside of this space comes in, it's not an empty, it's not an empty room with crickets. It's like, oh, it already has users. They're already leaving reviews. There's already reasons for me to get in. And especially with a game, maybe you have a Discord with 3,000 holders. Well, it would be pretty neat that if it lands on Steam, you already have like at least 1.5, 2K active online users already in the world or on the server to entice the new demographic to jump on in from outside of Web3.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that idea right there. Guys, I think, man, I'm looking at the time right now. I think we said an hour. We'll keep this light over here. This happens every single time when we do these interviews. At least
we didn't account for the 20 minutes we needed to talk about Marvel versus Capcom and Street Fighter. So
yeah, his reaction there,
and that was important. That was vital to the show.
Oh man, I didn't even know you could do that over there.
I forgot you could do that.
Yeah, don't get us started because you can start turning into little animals here. And that we can have a real NPC night here at the end of the stream. But we're not going to do that over here. I think what we're going to do is going to start to, as like we like to say, wrap it up on the back end over here onto the podcast. And just wanted to say thank you guys. Nemesis, we're glad that you didn't get rugged the entire time because that would have been not a fun. It was good to hear some insight though too from you. Because it's always obviously Demos. We hear from you all the time inside the space. TJ's now a cow over here. So
you guys can all be animals now, avatars.
What, did they got a duck there? Because you know what, that would have been perfect.
They don't have a duck.
I was gonna say because if Demos just turned into a duck right now, I'm pretty sure we would just lose our shit and that would be the end of the show right there. So
dude, that looks amazing.
They do a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Actually, it has the eye movements and stuff like that too.
Yeah, we go full VTuber for sure, very easily.
Yeah, we gotta stop that right there. Nemesis, you could have been that the entire time. We could have just put that there. Just instead of the hat, that's your real protection right there. Just turn into an animal NPC. Oh,
there we go.
The way it really matches so well. It's crazy.
I think yes.
Busy.
Derp. Yo, I would feel like that would have been a perfect ending.
Perfect
right there,
ending. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. No.
Wait, how did you guys swap spots?
Who did?
Oh, you. Everyone moved on my screen. But yeah, here I don't have a mouse. My mouse is totally broken.